Imagine a city that was once the heart of powerful Prussia, now a Russian outpost surrounded by NATO states, a place where past and present collide, with far-reaching consequences for Europe and the world. Welcome to Kaliningrad, or should we say, Königsberg? Few people know that this small piece of land has a fascinating history deeply rooted in Germany's past. As an exclave of the Russian Federation, it is cut off from the mainland, wedged between NATO countries and the European Union. But how did the homeland of one of Germany's greatest philosophers, Immanuel Kant, become one of Russia's most strategically significant military bases? What political and historical developments led to this transformation? And what does it mean for Europe and the world? Let's delve into the story of a city caught between worlds. The history of Königsberg began long before the Russian flag flew over it. In the 13th century, the Teutonic Order founded the fortress of Königsberg to fight the pagan Prussians, a Baltic tribe whose name later inspired the name of Prussia. This foundation was part of the Northern Crusades aimed at spreading Christianity. Thanks to the successes of the Teutonic Order, Königsberg quickly became an important center for trade, politics and culture in the Baltic region. In 1544, the University of Königsberg was established, attracting prominent figures like Immanuel Kant. Königsberg, once a city synonymous with German scholarship and Prussian virtues, became a symbol of an era of intellectual and cultural flourishing. It was a cultural hub whose influence extended far beyond the borders of East Prussia. As Prussia rose to great power and later formed the German Empire, Königsberg was the beating heart of East Prussia. However, World War I marked the beginning of the end for this centuries-long success story. The devastating defeat in World War I redrew borders and ended the imperial ambitions of the German Empire, for the time being. The once dominant power was humiliated by the Treaty of Versailles, losing significant territories and influence. The collapse of the Old World Order left Eastern Europe in chaos. Königsberg remained a German outpost, but the so-called Polish Corridor severed East Prussia from the rest of Germany. New tensions arose, paving the way for an even more devastating conflict. When World War II broke out, Königsberg's remote location initially spotted from direct combat. However, this changed as the war progressed. In August 1944, massive air raids by the British Royal Air Force reduced the proud, centuries-old city center of Königsberg to rubble. It was an irreplaceable loss that erased traces of German history from the city's heart. In 1945, as the Third Reich collapsed, the Red Army marched into East Prussia. The remaining civilian population suffered tremendously. The Battle of Königsberg was marked by unimaginable hardship and destruction. Tens of thousands of Germans perished from violence, hunger and disease. The last survivors, including countless orphans, known as wolf children, wandered through the ruins, fled to neighboring countries, or were taken in by foreign families. A tragic fate that sealed the end of an era. What followed was one of the most significant upheavals in European history. In post-war negotiations, the Allies redrew Europe's borders along the Oder and Neisse rivers. Germany lost Königsberg, and the Soviet leadership decided to divide East Prussia. The southern part went to Poland, while the northern part, including Königsberg, came under Soviet administration. Hundreds of thousands of Germans who had called this region home for centuries were expelled. In their place came Russians, Ukrainians and Belarusians. Königsberg became Kaliningrad, named after a Soviet revolutionary who had never visited the city. Thus ended Königsberg's nearly 700-year history. The German language and culture were systematically suppressed. Nevertheless, some German elements remain. A few half-timbered buildings still stand, and historical German street names are occasionally used in certain contexts. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union transformed Kaliningrad into a military stronghold, a naval base meant to showcase the power of the USSR over the Baltic Sea and counter NATO's influence. The city was off-limit to foreigners, shrouded in secrecy and heavily fortified. But Kaliningrad's true significance today lies not in its illustrious past, but in its explosive geopolitical situation. A ticking time bomb that could detonate at any moment, shaking Europe's fragile balance. For Moscow, it is a strategic outpost of immense value. As an isolated exclave surrounded by NATO countries, Kaliningrad serves as Russia's foothold in Europe. It is home to the Russian Baltic Fleet and equipped with modern Iskander missile systems, capable of reaching European capitals. Kaliningrad has become a flashpoint in relations between NATO and Russia, a constant reminder of the fragile peace between East and West. Perhaps the most strategically critical aspect of Kaliningrad is its proximity to the Suwalki Corridor, a narrow strip of land between Kaliningrad and Belarus. In the event of a conflict, Russia could swiftly seize the vital Suwalki Corridor, effectively cutting off the Baltic states from NATO in a single stroke. A scenario like this could plunge the world into a new war. This vulnerability has made the region a focal point in the military strategies of both NATO and Russia. The question is no longer about Kaliningrad's past, but the role it might play in a potential future conflict. What does this all mean for the future? Will Kaliningrad remain permanently Russian, or is there a chance for reunion? Perhaps even reconciliation? Despite many unanswered questions and challenges, there's hope for a revival of German heritage in Kaliningrad. A notable example of preserving German culture is the Königsberg Cathedral, one of the few buildings that survived World War II and was later restored. Kant's grave, now a popular tourist attraction, also draws visitors from around the world. A small but active German community is working to preserve German culture, with initiatives promoting German language education in schools and creating German-Russian meeting points as signs of cultural connection. Kaliningrad's history teaches us that political realities can fade as quickly as they emerge. Will this lost gem of Germany and Russia's geopolitical trump card one day become a symbol of reconciliation or of ultimate confrontation? What do you think? How will the future of this unique region unfold? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about such fascinating topics, subscribe to our channel. And if you like the maps we have explored today, you can get your own map by checking the link in the description. Thank you for watching and see you next time.